For 7 years, I worked with military members as a nurse case manager. I sometimes spent days, even months, trying to get toughened soldiers to raise their hand and say, "It's my turn, I need mental health help." April 19th, 2017, I quietly drove my kids to daycare, kissed them, and left for work. What should have been an ordinary drive changed when I saw a dump truck in my rearview mirror. I looked at that truck and thought how easy it would be to cause an accident and end my life. I didn't just think it, I believed it would be the best way to end my life because I no longer wanted to live. I pulled into a parking lot and sobbed. I thought of my soldiers and realized what a hypocrite I'd be if I didn't practice what I preach. I called my husband, my therapist, and then the crisis center. My journey through the crisis coordinator and emergency room led to my first psychiatric hospitalization. Medications were started and I was discharged with 3 diagnoses: major depressive disorder, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. I wondered to myself what the hell had happened. I'd battled the darkness of depression for years, been on and off medication, and was seeing my therapist regularly, but how did I find myself in need of a hospitalization? The answer was simple. I hadn't been honest. I was in a job that no longer fulfilled me. I was fearful my always supportive husband was going to leave crazy me, and I was sure my kids were better off without their sad mother. I never spoke of my lonely childhood where I felt awkward and different from my peers. I skimmed over the fact that I'd been assaulted in college by a friend. I'd avoided deep and complicated family issues. Sure, I talked a lot in my therapy sessions and opened up just enough here and there, but I lived in fear that my therapist was going to label me crazy. The thing is, after the hospitalization, I realized I wasn't crazy. I was just human. I found strength to fight for admission to a women's dialectical behavioral therapy outpatient program. That therapy group opened my mind. As the weeks passed, I learned more about myself and better coping mechanisms to life's challenges. I had neglected the present and instead was worrying about the future and chastising myself for the past. To cope with any distress, I had boxed up my pains and shoved them away. Once I returned to my therapist, my emotions were overwhelming and I cried at every session for months. I had realized I couldn't change unless I let her in to help me. We set small goals, and I slowly accumulated positive experiences. Each success brought me closer to trusting myself again while ensuring I was living in the present. As 2017 came to an end, my therapist suggested I reflect on what I had learned. As a perpetual student and the proud owner of 3 college degrees, here are the 10 things I discovered. Number 1, the hospital was where I needed to be when I couldn't be safe. It was the most humbling experience of my life. I met some amazing people and learned about my own personal strength. 2, stress is a tremendous trigger for my dark thoughts. Extreme stress feeds my depression, and if I don't release that stress, the depression will worsen. I've had to learn how to recognize when my stress is rising and then do something to alleviate it, which brings me to my next lesson learned. 3, a thought is just a thought. If I'm having dark thoughts, it does not mean I need to act on those thoughts. Those thoughts do not have power over me. 4, once I know what triggers me, I can develop a cope-ahead plan. I can keep this plan to remind me of what will help, steps I can take when I'm in an anxiety-inducing environment. This takes preparation, and every minute is worth it if it reduces my anxiety. 5, I need to take my medication as prescribed. As a person with treatment-resistant depression, I may not like taking medication, but it is helping me achieve a more balanced life. Communication is key so that my prescriber understands whether the medication is helping me. 6, work is not everything. It helps pay the bills and it should be fulfilling, but it shouldn't be my number 1 priority. There will always be some job for me to do, and the one I spend so many hours at should be something I enjoy. 7, setting personal boundaries is important to my well-being. Boundaries can protect my self-esteem while maintaining my self-respect. They also promote healthy relationships. 8, I can validate myself. If I'm unsure or don't feel strong enough to do so, it's okay to ask for help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a symbol of strength. 9, I am a priority. I cannot effectively take care of others if I don't take care of myself first. This lesson was perhaps one of the hardest to believe and led to many significant changes in my self-care. 10, I deserve to be loved. This includes self-love. I need to continue to surround myself with people that support me and support my goals. In the year after the hospitalization, I matured and grew through a tremendous amount of hard work, something that isn't easy when you have any mental illness. I may have faltered, wanting to give up and curl back in a ball on my bed, but I never gave up for long. I found my strength, my trust in myself, or listened to my supporters and continued onward. I never believed that I'd be able to retell my story outside the comfort of my therapist's office. I had too much shame around my history. It's my turn. I need mental health help, and this is my brave.